Hello, and welcome to Track Daniels. This is a conversational podcast where we listen to an album, argue about what drink would complement it, and no doubt give incredibly biased music-based opinions for good measure. My name is Gaz, and I have the pleasure to be joined by my good friends Dan.
Hello.
Dave.
Hi.
And Liam.
Hiya.
Right, so first off the bat, I am going to apologise straight away for my behaviour in the last episode. And
good God.
And the thing is, I was listening to it back when editing it, and I was just like, I disagree with a lot of these opinions, and they were mine. Most notably being that this is the best album that we've done so far. I mean, it's a fantastic album, and I love it, but the best album we've done so far.
You might have slipped into a little bit of hyperbole.
Yeah. No, Closer was probably my favourite that we've done so far, except for what we're doing today, like for sure. So that then
is a very good preamble.
Yes, yeah. That then leads me on to what we're doing today. So, guys, I've even got some props, which I was describing to Liam before we started recording, and it's a relic from a bygone era. And
the non penis shape, then, no.
No, that's not big enough to show.
He's married now. That is from a bygone era.
It's definitely a relic, yeah.
So, the album that we are doing today is...
That was a lot of nervous laughter, for fuck's sake.
Is Crack the Skye by Mastodon. There is my relic from a bygone era. A CD, a compact disc.
Diving in there, I found my old CD player from a separate system.
Yeah.
And put one on this week. Sounds fucking exceptional. What the fuck am I doing with MP3? MP3 can suck my grits.
CDs do sound better. Like and then records sound better than that, but that's a different argument for a different time. So, yeah, what we're doing, I've got a lot to say, by the way. So if anybody wants to jump in now and at least speak before I go off for about 15, 20 minutes.
Gotta go in again, just to say, I will have the least amount to say for all of you. Metal is simply not my oeuvre.
Yeah.
I have, although Mastodon, Jesus Christ,
Best.
From a playing perspective, as someone who actually plays, the guitar work is outrageous.
The entire everything, the entire everything is outrageous. All four of them are fantastic.
Is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is insane.
It is amazing. I'll stop there though.
Okay, so Crack the Skye is the fourth studio album by American heavy metal band Mastodon. Released in March 2009 through Reprise Records, the album debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200, selling 41,000 copies in its first week. In Australia, the album debuted at number 19 and it has sold over 200,000 copies in the US as of September 2010. Making it one of their highest-selling albums to date, Crack the Skye is the first studio album to feature drummer Bran Daler as the band's third lead vocalist, and he was fucking awesome at it as well. Fun fact, I met all four of them after a gig in the Manchester Academy on the tour for this very album. That is a fun
Please tell me that story goes somewhere else. Does it go
No, that was it.
That was it. That was the end of it.
We scared the hell out of him. The drummer Bran. My mate has got a Mastodon tattoo. He's got the.
Well, that's fucking tragic. But carry on.
He's got the artwork from Blood Mountain on his leg, and he showed Bran, the drummer, and he was just like, oh, he looked terrified. It was quite funny. It
was probably really high.
I mean,
was like, whoa, it's the album cover.
He was like, oh, that's really cool. It was really cool, but you could tell he was kind of like, I'm a little bit scared now.
Yeah, it's the fanboydom of it. Do you know what I mean? You expect it with perhaps they hadn't experienced it before. Do you know what I mean? When you've been going as long as say like Iron Maiden or something, you expect the fans to turn up with like a full chest piece of Eddie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Perhaps I don't think Mastodon are quite in that. Maybe they are.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if
they've got a rabid fan base.
They're on the borderline of being not because they're not mainstream, but they're definitely bigger than a cult band.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that, and they're fucking incredible. So I've also got So you might be interested to know that this album is a concept album. And when asked in multiple interviews, Bran comes up with a lot of the stories for the albums and a lot of the lyrics and stuff. And through various different interviews, this is what the story is. There's a paraplegic, and the only way that he can go anywhere is if he astral travels. He goes out of his body into outer space, a bit like Icarus. Then he goes too close to the sun, burning off his golden umbilical cord that is attached to his solar plexus. So he's in outer space and he is lost. He then gets sucked into a wormhole. He ends up in the spirit realm, and he talks to spirits, telling them that he's not really dead. So they send him to the Russian cult.
Oh my God.
They use him in a divination, and they find out his problem. They decide that they are going to help him.
My story gets better.
Go on. Yes. And then they decided they are going to help him. They put his soul inside Rasputin's body. Rasputin goes to usurp the Tsar, and he is murdered. The soul flies out of Rasputin's body through the crack in the sky. And Rasputin is the wise man that is trying to lead the child home to his body because his parents have discovered him by now and think that he is dead. Rasputin needs to go back into his body, before it's too late. And they end up running into the devil along the way. And the devil tries to steal their souls and bring them down. And there is some obstacles along the way.
There is some obstacles along the way. Is that when he ran out of fucking ideas? Do you know what I mean? It's so horrendously specific all the way through to the Rasputin bit, and I feel like the devil feels like an afterthought. It really does.
I mean, you've got to leave something to the imagination.
I love this album,
but
I guarantee you could read the lyrics and listen to the album and not get a tenth of that.
No, I have never once got the story.
That is the biggest load of word salad fiction I've ever heard. That's fucking ridiculous.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Right, that reminds me of an interview that I once read with Serge Tankian around the time I think Toxicity came out, where they were saying, "Oh, well, what's this about? Or what's this song about? What's this song about?" And you could tell he was just fucking making it up as he was going along.
Yeah.
I think it was the lyric like "wired with the eyes of a." Something of a jet pilot as it through, and he was like, "It's a horse that's taking LSD as it goes over in the bring." I was like, he's just taking the piss. He's genuinely taking the piss, and I don't know whether Mastodon or not.
I think like Maynard from Tool does that a lot all the time. Like the people ask him, "Oh, what does this song mean?" Because he doesn't want to get into like what a song means and that kind of stuff. A lot of the lyrics are pretty opaque, so he'll just bullshit. He'll just say it means, "Oh yeah, there was." At one time, I was looking at a cloud, and the cloud was the shape of a dragon, and the dragon actually is our soul. And it turns out
that's brilliant.
You see, that goes on and on and on and on. Yeah.
So, a Mastodon, are they being serious with this? Not because if they're taking the piss, it's amazing.
They are.
They are all massive stoners.
They are the kind of band that take what they do very seriously, but not themselves. Like they fuck. If you ever watch like any of their behind the scenes documentaries, they just fuck about the whole time. But they are very serious about writing music and making their music better. But I think this is just like Dan just said. They're also massive stoners. So I think this is just literally they've just smoked a massive Dubliani, and they've just gone nuts. And they've just come up with this
Dubliani. That's something said by someone who doesn't take any drugs.
That's right.
That's right.
Just say no, kids. Just say no. Follow Uncle Gary here. Yeah, just say no.
Just say no. It's cool to not take drugs. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the kids nowadays, like, I don't think it's so much of a prevalent thing anymore. I think, particularly like, there's probably like our listenership won't be particularly very young, unless they like the dick and fart jokes. And I mean, who doesn't like that? But I mean. So many of them don't drink anymore. They're very, very health conscious.
Yeah,
aren't they? The younger generation. Nothing wrong with that.
Our listenership consists of
us.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's and I don't know. I remember when they tried to make it cool of not drinking and taking drugs and all that kind of stuff because they called it straight edge. Straight edge.
Yeah.
The
straight in the edge of that.
And you're like
profits.
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah. The fake
I didn't
sound
know
of
that.
progress. That video, he's like, there's some rather loose-looking women in the video, and he's pushing them away, saying, "No, I don't want your drink. I don't want your drink. Oh, children, no, I don't want your drink."
Yeah. No,
I mean,
you're about 20 years older than my tastes.
I think
And she's 21.
there are different.
Oh God.
I mean, there are different levels to straight edge, though.
No, it just sounds to me like I'm going to try and come up with a cool name by straight edge with the edge and the straight and the edge. No, I'm just like, all right, why can't you just tell people that you don't like drugs and drink? It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a cool name for it.
It's okay.
Well, supposedly what the cool kids are doing now is they're still taking stuff like MDMA, but they're taking it at home because they realise it's cheaper. So they'll buy drugs.
Because they're not allowed out. It's a lockdown, Dan.
Oh, that's what it is.
I mean, that's how I like to take all my drugs these
wondering why
days,
no
just
one
at
was in
home.
the bar,
Why the fuck would you
And
go
I had to
out?
break in.
I mean, you've got a point. You're safe at home. Your toilet's there. You know, why would you go out?
In case you pull a white, you have to stare at the tiles like, oh God.
At least
Where
it's your
will
own.
this end?
At least it's your own tiles.
I'm trying desperately to come up with a pun. There's got to be like an Uber Eats or Just Eat style pun for drugs and delivery. There has to be, and I can't come up with it. Help me, Gaz.
Something along the lines of
Drugs to eat.
Doobaroo instead of Deliveroo or something
Nice.
like that.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Nice.
Nice.
Deliveroo.
That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. So who we haven't decided who is going to be the judge this week. Who is?
Oh, can I be the judge this week?
All right, then Dave. That sounds like he hasn't got an alcohol option. So Dave will be the judge.
I disagree. I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Why?
Because Dave doesn't particularly like Mastodon, and I know he doesn't.
Yeah, I think we should force Dave.
Surely
to take a
someone
drink.
who knows
Brilliant.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone who knows who's big on the music really should be that person, surely.
Fine.
And I'm really struggling for an alcohol, so I'll be the judge.
And you've not done it yet, so that's fair.
And I've not done it yet.
Okay then. Right. Okay. So shall we go off and
Democracy.
Yay!
I'll do it. No, he'll do it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true democracy. So let's go off and then listen to it, and then we'll come back. And we're back from listening to easily the best album that we've done so far. And
Oh, well, you said that last week.
yes, however, I mean it this time. And it really is, and it's the best one for a good while. Now, when I said I couldn't be subjective about the last one, I definitely could have been had I not had 2 liters of rocket fuel. Now, this one, I can be slightly objective, but there's not much to be objective about for me.
Okay.
I think it's an absolutely phenomenal album from start to finish. Paced so well. It's 50 minutes of absolute fucking bliss. For me, anyway. So yeah.
That's a
I'm
good
glad
word
for
for
you.
it as well, because it does have that kind of again, as I was gonna say, it's not like blissful in that it's not all like happy and light and everything, but it does have like an ethereal
Like it's
something about
it's
it.
pretty dark reason as to why the album came about as well. Like the reason why Skye is spelt with the E on the end,
An E.
stylized like that, is because it's named after the drummer's sister who committed suicide when he was like 15. She was 14, committed suicide, and it was this album was like his way of dealing with his sister's suicide. So like it's so he, for
fucking
him,
hell! Why have you done that, Gaz?
It's all right,
'Cause
we don't
I was about to be like, oh yeah, well, let me tell you, it's a load of bollocks. This is, and then you're like, yeah, well, I think you'll find it was named after. I was like, for
No,
fuck's
and
sake,
that's-
I can't be a dick about the spelling of Skye now because it obviously has a meaning to it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's still kind of bit, but yeah, you'd just be horrible. Like that's all.
I thought you were,
Yeah,
I thought you were
what
just
settle?
about to go on
Thanks,
your
Gaz.
usual anti-Scottish tirade, Liam.
yeah.
But yeah, no. For me, this like high point is definitely for me is "Crack the Skye." That song hits like a freight train, like the. It's amazing. It's really good.
There's
I can see
nothing
you
better
dancing.
than on
That was
like a live podcast
amazing.
when people start making guitar noises with their face.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well, I couldn't play it because that's probably problematic. Or just do it anyway. We're not making money out of it.
No,
True.
mate, it's
a very
okay.
good point.
It's okay.
Either way, it's brilliant. It's fantastic. I don't own the copyright. I might just slip that in over when I was doing that. I might do that, actually. That'd be a good laugh. Anyway, really good album.
It was a good album.
Really, really good album.
Dave, as a huge metalhead, I know that you're into all of the metal.
Loves metal.
What did you think of this album?
Dead people. Can you be mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's music.
Yeah.
You can be mean about the album.
Yeah, you can be. Yeah, that's it.
I'm not being mean
head.
about the sentiment of someone killing themselves. Come on, that's just fucking horrible.
No. But you can definitely take all that.
It's very busy, Gaz. It's so busy. It's too busy for me.
Oh,
it's like
Dave.
It's like
one man's busy is another man's layered, though.
No, it's definitely busy.
It's like an onion.
Well, no, it's not. It's like an onion if you then put it in some cereal and then had sugar on said cereal, and then but instead of milk had wine.
Yeah.
It's just there's too much going on.
You'd fucking love that.
That's actually kind of perfect. Yeah. I call it the Italian breakfast. It's my idea of a continental breakfast would be wine on
a bowl of wine.
Yeah. A bottle of wine, yeah. Oh God, I can do that tomorrow. It's just, let's face it, there's fuck all else to do, isn't there?
Snap, crackle, and Malbec.
See, now I do kind of agree with you because I know that you are not a fan of metal, Dave.
I've tried, mate. I've tried. I just.
And I think,
don't know.
And something that like we've had many conversations, usually after a lot of alcohol, and we've usually had like these kind of conversations where we just randomly just start talking about music, because if we're not talking about music, we're probably not talking. And and I think I'm kind of with you with a lot of metal. Like, I think it's going to sound incredibly pretentious, but pretentious, moi.
Yeah.
I think I've outgrown metal, like, if I'm honest.
That is definitely 100% the most pretentious thing you've ever said.
Yeah, it really is. I've outgrown it.
I know, so have most 16-year-olds.
But there are some bands that I just will always go back to, and there are some bands that just are interesting enough for me to continually listen to within that world. Now, Mastodon are one of them. Another band called Gojira, they're awesome. They're pretty mental. Everyone calls them the French Mastodon, but they sound fuck all like Mastodon. Anyway, they're good.
They're also way heavier than Mastodon.
They're insanely heavier. Yeah, but one thing I do like though is all of their messages, all the messages for the songs are all like really environmental. Like they fucking love the earth. And like,
I think it's so go on.
No, it's okay. And then like Dillinger, but they don't exist anymore, and now I'm sad.
In terms of so metal itself, because I think it's because it's such a it's the same thing with a lot of genre. It's like with fantasy. There's a lot of shit, and then the top of it, the cream is amazing.
Yes,
there's a lot of shit in any genre, though.
There is, but I think
because it's so generic, it's so of its own, of itself, as it were. It's like there's a lot of imitators. It's because it's so generic. There's a lot of it's easy to imitate.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of just shit, basically.
It's the kind of thing, though. If the fans could just stay at home, then the world would be a better place.
Almost.
I take issue with that, Dave. I take a big issue with that.
Oh dear, it's a joke. Is it?
Fight me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. No, it is.
Although
I know a lot of people that absolutely love metal, and I don't. And I used to, I kind of grew up in the era of new metal, NU metal. Yes, I drew a little air U then, guys.
I liked it.
Dear listeners. So I remember being terrified by it. I remember I tell you what, I'm going off on a tangent here, but bear with me.
It's all right.
But the first album, actually, the wine's kicking in now. Sorry. The first album that I actually bought on cassette was Killers by Iron Maiden, and that's about as fucking funky metal.
You've mentioned Iron Maiden. That's a perfect example of a band that have been making the same album for 30 years.
Yes,
they had their sound.
Yeah,
and
no different.
And I've done 15 albums that have the exact same sound.
Which
I think it's about more close to probably about 30, mate. There's so many, and they're still making them.
But the two albums we're going to listen to today are totally. Those two bands both changed their sound, and the reason why they, in my opinion, rise to the top of the genre is because they've tried to change their sound to the detriment of a lot of stuff, which we'll get to in a bit.
One of the guys in the band hates metal, though. He said
which one?
I read him in a guitar magazine.
Wait, which band are we on about here?
The sponsor, Mastodon, because they're sponsored by Orange Amps, and I used to sell a lot of them. And I can't remember who it is, but he alienated his own audience by saying he fucking a lot of the time hated playing metal because he'd rather be playing rockabilly and things like that. And that's what he was actually.
That sounds like Brent. That sounds like Brent Hines. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
The lead
He's a banjo player. So a lot of his finger picking stuff is basically banjo picking.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like the reason why his solos are so fucking. I liked it. The reason why his solos are so fucking insane is because he does a lot of the banjo picking, the
hybrid picking stuff.
Excuse me, the rockabilly like style picking.
Yeah.
And he's insane. Just to talk about him, something that I wanted to bring up. Like I've been watching in preparing for this. I've been watching a lot of the like behind the scene documentaries.
Yeah,
I think it was on the Crack the Skye one where they go on about like how he writes solos, and he doesn't. He basically he has a rough idea in his head, hits record, and that's it. Like he just does it there and then. And I'm just like, you fucking prick. Like how can you be that good?
That is
great talent. A lot of the best guitarists, dude, it's all on feel.
Yeah.
Have you heard? I mean, this is a proper tangent, but have you heard "Maggot Brain" before?
No.
Oh God, no.
By Parliament. That's it. I think it's Funkadelic or Parliament, one of them anyway. It's literally like a 9-minute long guitar solo.
Excellent.
And he basically they had like a really like minimal backing track, and he got the guitarist to go in and said, right, imagine you've just been told like a family member's died, they've been hit by a car. Go and press record. And he just did like a 9-minute guitar solo, and it's insane.
Yeah.
And it works really well because it was all like, it was the feel of it, and it's all you're trying to get his emotions out through the guitar and things like that. Whereas you look at some guitarists they intellectualize it to the point of like there's no feeling in it whatsoever. Like Steve Vai, for example. I don't like any Steve Vai.
John Petrucci.
Yeah, and it's just like
you put Buckethead in that same list.
There are so many.
Have you seen how many albums Buckethead's released?
Yeah, it's insane, man. Like it's like 200 albums. It's nuts.
It's like 350.
Every single scale. I think there's a certain point of virtuosity where people think, John Frusciante did it as well, and Omar from At the Drive-In. They get to the point where they're that good. They're like, you know what? Every riff is its own song. I'm going to release everything I've ever done.
But the thing that annoys me about
because it's not even a feel thing anymore. It's just more like, this is a scale I've learned. Here's a riff. Boom. Song.
The only thing, like, this is even more of a tangent, but the thing that really annoys me about Omar is the fact that he's a guitarist, a really good guitarist, like almost like virtuoso level guitarist. And he said apparently he hates the sound of the guitar.
Yeah, he bitches about the guitar all the time.
Don't fucking play it then, you dick. Play a different instrument, you knob. But you make great music, you fuck. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, Liam, what do you think about it? Because I know that you are not necessarily a massive fan of Mastodon, but what do you think?
No, I mean, they were after my time, which is why, well, sort of. I mean, I didn't really... When I listened to it, I'm like, well, that just sounds like Tool. That sounds like a Tool song that Tool would write. And it's probably just as pretentious. When you said that before, I was like, that's just pretentious, isn't it? I was like, the drum beat sounds a lot like Biffy Clyro. It's all off, weird timings. It's like, okay, fine. Didn't really pay much attention to the lyrics because it was like, all right.
I never listen to lyrics, to be fair.
No.
I don't. No. The guitars, because most of them are normally people going, right, what rhymes with line of coke? And then I'll quickly jot down other words. I need to get it to rhyme all the way through. And you're right. The guitar is phenomenal, but then
I'm back.
Hi, Dave.
It just sounds like so many different. I mean, there's some parts of the lead singers. So this is the guy singing sounds a little bit like Ozzy, a bit Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of parts where they're obviously playing at two different scale, well, the same scale, two different octaves, and it's all very. I've heard this before, but we've got a different drum beat for it, and we're going to have a slightly different thing. It just sounds a little bit like, all right, it sounds like metal by numbers.
For me, like I know with what they tried to do with this album, this apparently was the sound that they wanted to have from the start, but they just weren't there yet in their lives. So.
What?
So,
what
do you think this
is
actually a better
mean?
album than Blood Mountain, for example?
Oh, sorry, mate.
Do you think this is a better album? Because I actually think there's better songs on Blood Mountain because they're slightly simpler.
Yeah.
Everything that everyone's been talking about so far is how, how dense it is and how layered it is and how not overly complicated, but how like they're trying a load of tricks to do all they're pulling out all the stops. Whereas Blood Mountain, it's probably a little bit heavier. It's not as trippy, and it's more of a rocking album.
Which is weird because they class Blood Mountain as their prog piece, which is really weird. That's really like they class that as a prog piece, and they class this as like a weird experience.
They had a 50-minute album with 7 songs on it. The whole thing, the first album's fucking prog.
No, I think this is like proggy as fuck, but like. Who am I to tell them what they think about their own music? What?
This is as far into prog that I like as I like.
Okay.
Because I think prog is as everything that we've just criticised, or the other two dicks who've criticised the album for, which they're wrong about, is that it's overly layered, it's complicated, it's a bit wanky, it's pretentious. That's prog, and I hate prog. Like I genuinely don't like Rush. I don't like.
Nope.
I don't even like Pink Floyd that much.
No, I don't like Pink Floyd either.
No, I really dislike Pink Floyd.
Ostracized.
It's more like an academic exercise than feel or music or something like that.
You've got to be high for Pink Floyd.
Basically,
fucking Opeth.
We're back to the Dubrini.
Subjected me to a DVD of Opeth. Fuck off.
Opeth are all right, man.
Like fucking bullet. Oh God.
Did that person hate you?
I was
never subject anyone to Opeth.
I was attempting to pull out my left eardrum with my right hand through my right ear. That's how much I disliked listening to Opeth. It was fucking awful. I don't care that people think I'm a prick for saying that. I just don't care. It's fucking terrible. And it's just, I'm like, here comes the chorus. Oh, no. Let's just go into 16/9 time and then look at each other sagely and enjoy our mutual fucking masturbation session over guitar. Bollocks.
But Dave, for the 4 people in the crowd that actually understand that they've gone to 6/9 time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they enjoy it.
It's the wink to those 4 guys that actually know what they're doing.
But
it's like Stuart Lee, the comedian, who is shit. He's not funny.
Because
it's like the anti-joke. Like he's winking at the crowd, like the 4 people that know like what he's done there is deconstruct the joke, and actually where you think he's going to put the punchline, he's not. He's extended it and then put it at the end, and he's done this and what he's going to do, and it's just like it's not fun. Just make me laugh.
Yeah,
be funny.
Again, back to like an intellectual exercise. Yeah. I get that's a fair criticism, I think. But
so then Mastodon equals Stuart Lee, the album.
Whoa. Now, to answer your question though, because I think you asked me, do I think this is the best one they've done? Or I think that's what you said. for me, as an experience, I don't know. Well, that's where I'm going with it anyway. As an experience, as a whole, this is my favorite album. Like, if I wanted to listen to the full album, I would listen to this. However, I think I prefer. I think my favorite.
Who?
Is sorry, yeah. I just tried to minimize it and it wouldn't let me. I think probably my favorite is either this Blood Mountain or Emperor of Sand. Like, they've just got so many good songs, man.
They do know how to, and the thing for me, because I'm quite a simple man. It's just that's a very appropriate background there, dude.
It really is.
I've got a simple man. It's the riffs. There's just loads of good riffs that you can hang the song onto.
Oh, mate.
But I wanted to get into something that this was the first album that really brought it home for me, actually. So in the late 2000s, there was something called the Loudness War, which was ironically a war that was quite silent and no one actually spoke about, but apart from like 4 guys on the internet. And it was to do with like the mixing of the album, where they kind of got rid of all the dynamics of the album, and everything was loud. They did that thing where Dave might be able to tell us a bit more about it.
It's called brick wall limiting.
Yeah.
You take up so your dynamic. So think of an orchestra. Think of the quietest sound they could possibly make, the loudest sound they could possibly make. I don't know. Carmina Burana by Carl Orff, where you've got a 120-piece choir singing with a 40 or 60-piece orchestra. Do you know what I mean? It's
right.
It's deafening. It's like it's supposed to be forceful, but in order to experience what the force of that, the magnitude of that, you have to work in opposition. So you have to have the quiet to experience the loud. Do you know what I mean? You have to understand what quiet is. The thing being about the brick wall limiting was it just basically made everything as loud as everything else. The first album, the loudest album I think on record is Californication by the Chili Peppers. It's so unbelievably loud, like every single instrument in it. They're only a 3-piece band, aren't they? I think that's probably what you're getting at. I was talking too much. Over to you, Dan.
No. That's exactly kind of what I meant. So it's the lack of dynamics.
4 in the Chili Peppers.
But Anthony Kiedis doesn't count.
Yeah, good point. Rick as well.
Oh shit! Yeah, there are 4 people.
Technically, there was 5, but they made one of the guitarists go actually insane.
Did they?
Yeah, they started playing like light bulbs on their head and stuff. Is it Prashanti? I think it's got that. That's the name that's gone to my head. It might be wrong. I think he actually went insane.
He was the guitarist, and then he just basically took the drugs and went mad.
He actually went mental.
Yeah, he did.
And then they got what's his face from James Addiction.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, and then they brought Prashanti back, didn't they?
Yeah, because they were like giving
Californication.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, ironically for Californication. But it's a good example because you think about all the guitar work in Californication, it's all clean toned, it's like a single guitar line, it's all quite minimalistic. And you're right, it sounds really loud. It sounds huge.
Massive. Yeah.
Whereas this album, there's so much going on. We'll get into that in a later episode, my friend. Because they're overrated as fuck.
They are, really are.
But this album, like, there's so much going on, and because there's this lack of dynamism, because everything's 10 out of 10 all the time. Now, bearing in mind that the caveat is, I do love this album. I do think it takes you on a bit of a journey, but here are the reasons why some people might not like it. It's because everything's 10 out of 10 at all times. Everything's 10 out of 10 at all times. There's no let up from it. And it's called the Loudness War because basically it was a bunch of record producers and the labels and stuff were trying to make every metal album or every album sound huge. And this is the first time I remember playing it, probably in the car with you actually, guys, and thinking it just sounds loud all the time.
Yeah.
But there's moments when I don't think it's meant to sound that loud. And the other album that I noticed it on was Death Magnetic with Metallica.
That's the only time I've ever noticed it.
When everything, it really is 10 out of 10 all the time.
The cymbals are clipped off. It's that bad.
Yeah.
The thing is, do you know what? Right, there was another mix of Death Magnetic,
okay,
which made it sound better. And it was on.
Some of the Metallica mixes that you find on YouTube are fucking amazing.
Did it also save the majority of the album as well?
Yeah, it was actually the mix that people preferred was in Guitar Hero.
Yeah, because you can hear everything, like especially with the And Justice for All stuff, because you could actually hear the bass.
Yeah, because they dropped what they were doing is, of course, you'd have to drop the guitars at certain points. So what people were doing was were able to almost separate the tracks out. So you didn't have to have this loudness war anymore. You'd be able to listen to a better version. I think they're
fucking genius.
It's the opposite of what me and Dave were talking about last week with Pixies and Steve Albini. Steve Albini is known for like having a really percussive drum sound. The drums are really prominent, and that makes everything else sound like urgent. Whereas with the loudness war, the guitars are just up here all the time, really front and center, which kind of means that it is that wall of noise that everything else just is in the background. The guitars, especially with that Metallica album, it's James Hetfield's guitar very much at the front of it.
But to be fair, he's the only thing
Metallica,
left in that band that's worth listening to, though, to be fair. But we'll get on to that.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a rhythm player.
He's a hell of a guitarist. He's a
James Hetfield. Play.
Can we talk about that next episode? Because I think it might be applicable.
Spoiler!
Yeah.
So...
I wonder why Dave just took a massive gulp of wine when we said that. just preparing himself.
Trying to... the next one, I'm just going to get through it somehow. And then we'll be on the other side.
One thing as well, like, I'll show you guys. People at home aren't going to be able to hear it, but can you see the front cover? You've probably seen the front cover before anyway. So that piece of artwork, that was done by a guy called Paul Romano. And I remember seeing like images of him like drawing the artwork, and he colored that in with Crayola like pencil crayons. Like that is done just with normal pencil crayons. Like,
so that isn't a digital painting or anything.
No.
Like digital painting.
No. Like there is. I mean, they might have had a digital version afterwards, but I do remember seeing his original artwork, which I just find absolutely crazy that he had Crayola pencil crayons, because it's just like, I had those in school and I couldn't do fuck all with them, and he's just made this absolutely insane piece of artwork.
But it
coloured it in, and he can stay in the
album as well.
Yeah,
like it's elaborate. It's almost virtuoso.
Gaz built up to a little joke there, and you kind of spoilt it.
It's all right.
No. He was like, and he can stay in the Oh, Dan's talking.
I literally was just waiting for like a breath so I could say my piece.
Okay, I do make that difficult, to be fair. Right, so let's move on then. So let's.
Can you just drop in the punchline of that joke, because I feel bad now.
It's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So not only did he make that artwork with Crayola pencil crayons, and he can keep in the lines.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
It would have been funny at the time. So
it would have, mate. It would have been spectacular. That.
So, what is everybody's alcohol choice? Sorry, I'm kind of taking that away from you there, Dave, because you're the judge. No, Dan.
Dan's judging. I wasn't allowed.
Sorry, Dan.
So
I've taken it off you.
That was just your retort, because I chatted over your awesome punchline. You thought, I'm going to take the judgeship away from him. Okay. So, what's our alcohol of choice? And we'll go with Liam first.
Oh, I knew it'd be me. I struggled with this because it's so. If I'm honest, it's probably going to be my choice is based upon the fact that the only time I would probably listen to this band is if I just happened to be at a festival and they were on, which means I'd be hanging around the back, being like, "Oh yes, it's all right."
And we did actually at Sonosphere 2011. Sorry,
I don't remember that.
I do. I've seen them like 9 times. So I remember that.
Was that not Airborne?
But I've cut you off. No. Because I checked when I was doing my bits and bobs for this. I checked if they were on Sonosphere, because I was trying to figure out like how many times I'd seen them. But anyway, sorry, mate, I've cut you off there.
What was I drinking? Because I love that.
I don't know. I was watching Mastodon.
Shit band.
They are, but they're great live though. They're great.
I remember the guitarist
They're
getting on
basically
top of the
an
stage.
AC/DC cover band.
Yeah, I hate AC/DC, but they're a really good live band. Shit music, but just like fun to watch. Sorry, Liam. So you listening?
I don't know. I'm probably stood at the back drinking. I don't know, some generic like Newcastle Brown Ale.
So Newcastle Brown Ale's your choice first.
I have literally no reasoning for that other than it's probably being sold at a festival where I'd actually drink it. I don't know.
What festival serves Nuki Brown?
The Newcastle Festival.
Newcastle doesn't have a festival.
The Newcastle prog metal extravaganza that's every year.
Yeah, I don't think metal's taken off in Newcastle, mate. You've fucking been to Newcastle.
I have a few times.
I like Newcastle. I think it's one of the
I do as
places...
well, but they ain't listening to metal, mate.
No, that's true. It's probably one of the only other
Newcastle-
places in the country I'd live. There you go. Put it that way.
Right. Just before you move your entire family to Newcastle. Newcastle is the only time I've been there. I was walking down the road. Admittedly, it was a Friday night, about 9 o'clock. I had a few sherbets, and it ended up being one of my mate went to uni there, and we walked down one of the main streets of Newcastle. There's a little side road, and I see a girl having a pee over a grill in the street, a grate. Sewer drain. That's the one I went to say, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty dodgy, pretty Newcastle." And my mate was like, "No, she's not having a piss, mate."
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, at least she did it on a grid.
That's Newcastle.
2,000 years later.
Yeah.
Whose drinks next?
Oh yeah, I can weigh in. This
Go on,
time
Dave.
I've come prepared ish. So this time. So it's like what you walk into a bar in the town centre. It's a certain brewery. I'll name no names.
Weatherspoons.
No. It's much more pretentious than a Weatherspoons. At least in Weatherspoons you can actually get some decent beers in Weatherspoons, but we'll leave it there. Aside from the owner being a bit of a cunt, like what else can you do?
Dave, name them. They might be able to give us some sponsorship, and we might get paid.
They won't after this.
Oh,
Is it something to do with a canine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I walk in there and I get something that's got less in it than my wine glass currently. That's 12 quid. It's stronger than any beer should be.
Hang on. Let me take a guess. Well planned. Radioactive bird that can't fly.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is this?
There you go. Yeah,
is this
well
a
done
cryptic
you.
crossword?
Yeah.
Then you drink it and it actually you think, God, this is fucking awful. Like where it's like the Emperor's New Clothes. You drink it, you think, what is it about this that means people are fucking packed in there? And they're actually, especially quite a decent company to work for, and all this sort of stuff. But I mean, I don't get it. It's like it's an illusion to me, and that's kind of what I feel about this. It's a technical illusion.
Okay.
Pertaining to be,
Okay.
I don't know, more than it is.
So it's more like it's something that they made to be pretentious and wanky
On purpose.
that no one actually needs.
But yeah, but everyone is engaged in this kind of like group. What's the word?
I love the
Delusion.
I love the irony that you're going on about how pretentious this is by being incredibly pretentious about it.
Super pretentious. Yeah, I know. But that's me, though, isn't it? What
It's
can I
so
do?
I love it. I love it
My
so
therapist has
much.
been telling me this week I should accept myself, Gaz, and that's what I'm doing right now.
I accept you every day of the week.
I can't wait for your next meeting with your therapist. So, what have you been doing this weekend to be accepting of yourself? He said, well, I spoke on a podcast how I don't like metal music and drank wine all the way through it. But I accept everything I said.
The sessions are actually quite helpful. And this is the weird thing, like you don't even know if I'm joking now or not. Who knows?
I was doubling down just in case it was true.
Exactly, that's what you should do, and I respect you for that. I told you that was my advice. It's good advice, solid. Don't ever take advice from me. You all know that. Jesus Christ.
So what was the
Why
drink?
would you take any advice from me, for fuck's sake? Unless it's about being awesome, then
Should we actually say that
Say
the
thanks to
name
me
of
later.
the name of the beer?
Yeah.
Right. So
It's
it's
Dave's
Tactical Nuclear
choice.
Penguin.
Yeah, it's a BrewDog beer. Like, God
Just
bless
go-
them for what
just-
they're doing. Do you know what?
so-
Do you know
so-
what I will say? Do you know what I will say? Is I think it's incredibly admirable that both owners have decided to take no wages this year at all
That's good.
in order to pay their staff. I think that's a fantastic thing. Let's not get it twisted.
As do I.
fools.
Please sponsor us.
No, that's
But
really good.
I just, yeah, no, it's fucking fantastic. Like, that's very socially conscious, progressive. I think that's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I just don't like the beer. I refuse to go in and share in this kind of indulgent delusion that it's absolutely fantastic when I just don't think that it is.
I do
And
love
we
the
haven't
fact.
mentioned the whole point of Tactical Nuclear Penguin is that is it 35% or something like that?
Fuck
Something
me.
Ridiculous.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
So yeah, that's what we only said that you came into the shop and there was only
Yeah.
like that much in there. Yeah, so they made a
Fucking hell.
32% beer or something like that.
I
Yeah,
bet it
the
doesn't
Daily
even
Mail
taste
kicked
pleasant.
off.
Of course they did. They
Yeah.
kicked off anything though.
Yeah. So the Daily Mail kicked off.
They probably called them immigrants as well because they're from Scotland.
Oh yeah.
So what they did
yeah.
in response to that was they created another beer called Nanny State, which is 0.5%.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of trolling. You know, I'm like, yeah, do you know what? That's cool.
I'm not
You've
saying
done
they're
well.
not smart. They actually have an advert, and I think it's fucking metal knowledge. Cop for this one, twat. I think they actually have Meshuggah playing, and it just says BrewDog. It's a brilliant advert, and it is a wall of absolute ear bleed noise.
That's Meshuggah.
It just says
That's
BrewDog
nice,
in the middle.
Meshuggah.
Yeah.
And it's
If you get a chance, by the way.
it's an inspired advert. Hats off to you, gents. I genuinely think it's absolutely. I think there's a joke there that I think is very, very funny. Some very intelligent people. It's just the people drinking it. I think the joke's on them.
Brilliant.
I agree. And just before we get on to Gareth's drink,
Hello.
if you get a chance, listen to Bill Burr talk about, because Bill Burr's a drummer. Listen to Bill Burr talk about Meshuggah and how when he first went to a Meshuggah concert and how it changed his life. It's also the best impression of double kick drumming by a guy just going with his mouth that you've ever heard in your life. It's exactly Meshuggah.
Okay.
It's
Anyway,
Isn't it?
Is it Thomas Hart? Is it Thomas Harker? Who's the drummer from Meshuggah?
Yeah.
I mean, they're like ludicrous again but again, it does nothing for me. No, but then again, it gives a fuck about my opinion. It's just an opinion. Like ourselves.
that's what I wanted to name this podcast. Who gives a fuck about Dave's opinion?
Yeah.
Exactly. I do.
I overruled it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mm.
Gareth.
Gaz, what was yours? Let's move on to Gaz because
are you drinking?
I'm quickly running out of drink and I want to lose as quick as I can.
So I went a little bit left field because I think it's what
Shock.
it's what they would have wanted. Because this album goes a little bit left field if you go back to the beginning and find out what it's all about. So I've not actually gone for alcohol. I've gone for...
So you're not going to meditate instead, are you?
No, I've gone for what Brent Hines would have loved, and that's just a big old bag of weed. That's what he would have wanted.
It's literally not the point of the podcast. I think you've misunderstood. The very specific, we're pairing albums with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how you can get that wrong. But you've managed to fuck it up. Well done.
Thanks.
As the judge, I'm going to disqualify Gaz from this round.
Mine was the only option, though, to be fair.
What about, like,
Even
you
though
goes to be like a shot of bong water, Gaz?
They probably would have preferred a fatty boom batty rather than some alcohol.
A big doobly-doobly-ani.
Duberini. I am going to go with Tactical Nuclear Penguin.
Yeah, man. Well done, Dave.
Yes!
Well done. what are we all listening to right now?
Ooh.
So,
Question.
Dave,
Question.
go on then.
No,
You
stop.
look
Ask someone else. Ask someone else. I need to find
Dan.
out what it was.
Dan,
I
what are
have
you
not been listening to that much music this week, actually. I've been listening to podcasts
That's cool,
because
man.
my podcast listening since the coronavirus thing has really dipped, and I've got about 7,000 episodes to listen to.
What have you been listening to for the most part?
There's a crime podcast called Dr. Death, which has been out for a couple of years, but it's one of those, a bit like, it's like a serial thing, so it's a 8 or 9 episode story. That's pretty good.
Nice.
And it's one of the nerdiest things and I'm a dedicated nerd. One of the nerdiest things I listen to, which is it's a Star Trek podcast called The Greatest Generation.
Hey, you've told me to listen to that, and I've just never got.
It's really fun. It's really funny,
it's
one of those things that it's now like 300 episodes deep, and there's in-jokes that they continually reference now, so you can't jump in halfway through. You have to listen to it from the start.
Yeah.
But it's really,
Never gonna bother.
really funny.
Never ever going to happen.
Yeah, if you were in a situation where you were locked down and had free time, where you didn't have to couldn't do anything all day, it might be the time to get into it.
Okay.
But I'm just saying.
I just love Dave's reaction there. All right, so that's what you've been listening to, Dan. Liam, what have you had on your jukebox, dude?
Fucking hell. What have I? I don't know. I've been forced to listen to Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Shite.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolute babe, though.
100%.
Absolute babe.
I was.
Oh God, guys.
Saw her live at
Sorry,
Glastonbury. Mate. She was good, but I hated what she did. It was just shit. Like there was nothing. It was literally nothing for me.
It's pretty candy floss music, isn't it?
I'm gonna a bit of synthwave in there. It wasn't too bad. I could get behind that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But other than that, I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. And Infected Mushroom.
Nice.
Okay, so what's that?
Nice.
Which is a bit. I don't know. I have no idea how to explain it.
Can you explain it with a noise?
No.
It's a great explanation.
That's got absolutely nothing like it. I don't know.
Is it chuggy metal? Is it funk? Is it blues influence? What is it? Come on.
It's not chuggy.
Is it electronic? It sounds like it's going to be electronic.
It is a little bit, yeah. It sounds like electronic with a bit of guitar.
So kind of like Pendulum meets Prodigy meets.
No, I honestly I can't explain it.
Okay.
Tell you what. Point for you. Well, not pause the recording. I'll just play it for you.
We're gonna get done.
Yeah,
but you don't have to put it on the recording, do you?
Yeah. This involves way too much editing for me.
I thought this is quite cool. You can hear the washing machine in the background winding up.
I know exactly what it reminds me of.
So I've no idea.
Sounds like shit.
It reminds me like a band called the Bloody Beetroots. Very, very similar.
Yes, you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, good for good workout music. Cause it's just fucking like get the stress out.
Yeah,
sort of
because you mentioned that about you said that the Wolf listens to it in the gym.
Yeah, he does. That's his gym music. He's become a dad though now. He's getting fat.
Yeah, we've spoken about that before. We've spoken about exactly that before.
So that's what you've been listening to, Dave. What have you had on, Dan?
Well, what?
I said
Did
what?
You say
Dave, what have you had on, man?
Man, I thought you said Dan. Sorry. Right. So I've gone back into some. I hate the term indie because I think it meant to mean independent at one point, but then it got kind of just taken into something like, flowery and light and shit, basically.
I mean, it was, and then it just became a tag.
Yeah, precisely. We all know how I feel about that. I'm not going into it. And again, it's like the, and a lot of indie just strikes me as stuff that people who wet the bed, like it's just too wet and flaccid for me to even wish to listen to. So
it's like punk without the balls.
Snow Patrol, for example, is indie.
Yeah. I mean, even though they make like technically passable music, something like Belle and Sebastian, I just don't want to listen to it. You know what I mean? I don't want it to take up my day.
So you don't like indie, but you've been listening to indie bands.
But I have delved back into the Super Furry Animals, who've got some fucking great albums.
Okay.
Gruff Reeds.
They're a little bit. Super Furry Animals are a little bit. I wouldn't say proggy, but I think they're a bit experimental-ish.
Yeah, his imagination's amazing, absolutely amazing. So a couple of albums, Phantom Power is one album, and then The Man Who Don't Give a Fuck is another. Both exceptional albums, great breadth of imagination in there. I really enjoyed them. Cool. and then went on a bit of a kind of a, when the ball gets rolling, you decide to, so I got into it. So I went back into listening to the 3 EPs by the Beta Band.
Okay.
Because I was reliving my high fidelity. Yeah, Dry the Rain. Yeah. Such a fucking great song. And then I went right back for some sludgy noise. Because I heard Regular John by Queens of Stone Age off the very first album.
Nice.
And it's one of the best songs with one chord. It's one fucking chord and it sounds amazing. That's to me how it's got that real ball. So I think we've talked about this before, and I would very much like to do, say, either Rated R or Songs for the Deaf, one of the two. I think both those albums are fucking spectacular. But
I can stick Songs for the Deaf on.
That's a real opus as well. You could possibly argue Indulgent because it's long as fuck. There's a lot of songs in that album.
But I'd argue that that's actually more of a concept album than the one we've just reviewed.
Ooh. Did you not hear the story?
Let's.
Do I have to read out that really long story again?
No,
please do.
Yeah, good, because I can't be arsed. It's a really long story.
Rasputin thing.
It's great.
You had me at Rasputin. Apparently, he had a massive cock.
Did he?
Yeah. Rasputin apparently had a fucking huge dong.
Brilliant.
I just thought I wanted to kill the conversation, so I thought I'd just start talking about Rasputin's cock and then just.
Hey man, that's an opener for me.
See how quiet. Yeah. You had me at Russian penis.
So is that what you've been listening to?
Yeah. And Ready to Die by Biggie went straight back into that.
Ah, yes.
Some of the rhyme schemes in that are fucking mind blowing.
I'm so gutted that the recording that we did was wank, because it's such a good album, man.
It's amazing. It's fucking amazing.
Absolutely.
It's not particularly enlightened with its views on a.
It's great though.
Yeah, it's
it's absolutely
absolutely
wonderful. So I am actually going to surprise you all. Like 100%, you will be surprised.
You aren't, because you're going to say Smith.
No. Whoa. This is the first week in a year that I have not listened to the Smiths. So I have not listened. I have not listened to the Smiths.
Do you feel happier about life?
No. If anything, I feel worse.
You got to the point where you're like, do you know what?
No, if anything, I was going to put it on today, but then I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to surprise the guys, and I didn't want to break that. But no, I haven't listened to them at all this week. But what I have been listening to, obviously, I've been listening to a lot of, this album that we've just reviewed. Yeah. But in that sort of vein, because I've been writing essays and stuff, so I've been listening to a lot of like lo-fi beats and stuff, just like literally just a load of instrumental stuff. So like I don't get distracted by words.
I can't work if there's lyrics in there.
No, I
instrumental.
But the one thing that happened
on the same thing.
Go on.
The Jazz Hop Cafe.
Okay.
It's amazing.
There's a playlist that I usually go to, which is called Late Night Jazz on Spotify, and it's fucking brilliant. Like
I was about to ask you to move closer to the microphone. Just late night jazz.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's right, cats. Anyway, so yeah, I've been listening to that, but then in between my essays and stuff, and when I've been having to do actual work in between, I've been listening to a band called the Claypool Lennon Delirium. So with Crack the Skye being like mental, I was just thinking I needed to continue that sort of weird wibbly wobbly stuff.
I'm presuming that's Les Claypool then.
It is Les Claypool and
Sean Lennon.
Sean Lennon as well. So
Who's actually a banging guitarist.
He's fucking
really
brilliant.
Good. Yeah, he's mint.
His albums on his own are good as well.
Yeah, he's not like he's had to have a job.
It's true. It's true. It's really weird though because it looks like he looks like he sorry, hang on. I need to stabilize myself. He looks like Yoko Ono dressed up as John Lennon. It's really weird. Like that is literally what he looks. Because obviously he's their son, so he looks like both of them. But he looks like Yoko Ono dressed as John Lennon. It's really weird. Anyway,
I saw a tweet from him recently. Actually, he tweeted recently to say, "Look, seriously, you don't have to reply to all of my tweets with lyrics from."
What?
Every time he tweets with everything that's going on, everyone just replies with lyrics from Imagine, and he's like, "I'm aware of the words. You don't have to tell them to me."
Poor bastard.
But the thing is, at the moment you say that, please don't reply with lyrics from a particular song. What the fuck happened?
Yeah,
Jesus
everyone's
Christ.
Yeah, so yeah,
Austin would find it.
Everyone's just a dick, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are.
Dave, if you thought that Crack the Skye was too much, don't listen to the Claypool Lennon Delirium. You'll just have a bad time. But they're awesome.
It's not that I dislike complicated music.
No, it's really proggy and just a bit odd.
No, not for me.
Yeah, like.
But it's also quite self-consciously like.
It knows.
It
knows what it is. Yeah, it's definitely tongue. Its tongue is firmly in its cheek.
Yeah, well, that I can kind of
And up its
respect.
own
I can't take prog seriously as they want it to be taken. Do you know what I mean? They want so desperately to be revered as these.
It's wanky.
Exceptional.
The best word for it is it's wanky.
Yeah, it's
musicians, and then Come Together by the Beatles comes on, and I'm just like,
it's a great song though.
What Come Together by the Beatles? Yeah, it's fucking genius.
Yeah, great song.
It's amazing, and suddenly I'm just all like Regular John that I just said by Queens of Stone Age. It's one chord, and then suddenly I'm like, oh yeah, it's got me straight away.
But just to kind of put into perspective that they don't really take themselves that seriously. Like the big track that came from their first album is called Bubbles Burst, and it's about Bubbles, the chimp, but Michael Jackson's chimp, eh? What?
I think we broke up a little bit there.
Yeah, your feet cut out there, mate.
That was for you.
Well, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go again.
Okay. So just to kind of put it into perspective of how they don't take themselves seriously, their big single's called Bubbles Burst, and it's about Bubbles the chimp, Michael Jackson's chimp.
Brilliant. Actually, that's quite funny. I like
the music video has got Noel from the Mighty Boosh. What's he called?
Fielding.
Noel Fielding as Michael Jackson, and it's just it's a good video.
That sounds quite good.
Yeah.
Mighty Boosh. That has not aged well.
No, it really hasn't. Although if I wasn't so nostalgic about it,
loved it. I absolutely loved it. But yeah, it's aged badly.
It's aged incredibly poorly. Okay, then. So that's kind of the end. I think we've come to a natural
good way to end.
Point.
Diss someone and then fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I like to do. Throw a grenade and run away. So if you want,
I would interject, as most people do when they throw a grenade.
It depends. There's some fucking idiots out there. So, if you want to follow us on social media, you can find at Track Daniels Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then if you want to follow me on my own, I'm
Sorry, I'm just reading some of the replies to this tweet. It's fucking brilliant. I apologise. I know you were in
It's
there.
okay. It's okay.
The tweet specifically said, although delightful, please note it's not absolutely necessary to quote the lyrics of Imagine to me as a response to each and every tweet I make. It may come as a shock to you, but I'm vaguely familiar with both the music and the lyrics of this tune. Thank you. To which the replies, the fucking replies.
Brilliant.
I think you might be a dreamer. But someone stepped to go. Yeah, but he's not the only one.
Oh, brilliant, guys! I'm gonna have to go to the toilet.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay. Is there anybody else? See you later, mate.
Hey, Sean, did you know that you're John Lennon's son?
Nice.
Great. I'm sure he didn't know that. Does anybody have anything that they want to plug?
Yeah, this tweet.
Brilliant. Okay, so if you want to go and follow me on Twitter, it's at BamShoot Club or at BamShoot on Instagram. So okay, thank you very much for listening.
Is that why you just talk about wrestling that doesn't have any fans in it?
Yeah, it's weird.
I saw a clip. It was really odd.
It's really weird, but
It is bizarre, yeah.
but it kind of works. But in a really
No, it didn't.
I realized that without the crowd, it's not boring, but it needs that crowd interaction.
It is a bunch of oiled up men slapping each other.
Yeah,
And you're very aware of it when there's no one cheering.
But the thing
It's the same as a band coming out and going, "Hello, Ohio."
Yeah.
There's no one there. It's just really weird.
Because it's a live performance thing, they work from the crowd, and without having that crowd interaction, it really shows.
I saw Stone Cold doing something or other on it. Was
Really
floating around.
awkward.
They were like, "Oh, giving it a hell yeah," and there's just one guy stood in the background. He said, "Hell yeah," and I was like, "This is shit."
Yeah, it's really weird. Like it is really, especially when like somebody that you know is going to get cheered to hell comes out, and then it's just their music playing and just silence. Like there's just nothing. It's weird. Anyway, on that note, thank you for listening. We've been Track Daniels, and we've been great. Thank you very much.
Bye.
How many screens does Dave have?